meeting to order. Would someone like to lead the pledge since Elaine's not here?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay. Roll call. Jay?
Here.
Cheryl? Here. Jan? Here. Susan? Here. Heather? Present. And Verna. Just to note, we are... Sorry.
Raise your hands if that's never happened to you before.
That could be I know. I sat in the car and I thought I put you down more. No. I apologize. You need a clock. Okay. And I just wasted a lot of time. So we are on a time schedule tonight, so we're going to keep things as simple as we can and move right along. Okay, approval of the agenda.
I move the agenda be approved.
I'll second it. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you. Okay, approval of the minutes for January 25th.
I found one small typo.
Pardon?
I found one small typo.
Okay.
On page 4 of the minutes, item 10.3, it should say the date. Although, I mean, you want to go with the date, that's fine.
Okay.
With the correction, I'll motion to approve the...
I had one more.
Okay.
Sorry.
On the same page, under 7.5, under the statement, it should say motion to have. There's no to in there.
Oh. Right. Any further correction?
So motion to approve the minutes.
As second. Jan seconds. All in favor? Opposed? Actually, Jan, you were asking.
Oh, that's
you had-
right, I
I can't.
I'll second.
Okay, and so, Jan, you abstained. All right. Okay, I see we have a nice audience this evening. Welcome to the audience. If anyone has anything to say regarding the agenda, welcome. Financial reports. Cheryl.
I have your usual reports in front of you. Check register for January, balance sheet, and the income statement. Any questions or comments? Okay. Then we need a motion to approve the expenses for January of $127,465.50.
So moved.
Susan seconds. Okay. Jay?
Yes.
Cheryl?
Yes.
Jan? Yes. Susan? Yes. Heather?
Yes.
And Verna? Yes. Motion's approved unanimously. No communications or unfinished business, new business. Laura?
Okay.
first thing is I'm going to take this off. The benefits time off policy. With the addition of Juneteenth, we add that time to the staff, full-time staff, PTO. The other holidays were already on there, but they just weren't in the policy. So Martin Luther King Day, President's Day, those days had already been included in the PTO time for full-time staff. So with the addition of Juneteenth, I thought it would be good to include that in the policy, that is added. So that's what this one is.
And that's why the change in the hours.
Right. It's an additional 8 hours for full-time staff.
Okay.
So clarification, number 9 is all in red, it's not an addition, we're just adding the one holiday.
That whole section is new.
Oh, that whole section?
Yeah, that was not in the original policy. The policy, I did write down the date. I apologize, I took that off, but this was approved in 2017 originally. So,
Do you have the date on that? Oh, that's
I
okay.
wrote it down somewhere.
That's okay. We'll get it.
Find it. But, yeah, that whole section was not in there. So that time was added in the PTO for staff, but it was never put in the policy
Oh,
before.
okay. Yeah, it was unclear why we were adding it.
Yeah, that's why, because it wasn't there originally. So then everything in red would be changes.
So you're saying that this is a zero-cost ad, it's already being paid earlier?
The other holidays were Juneteenth is new.
Okay, so what's the cost of that?
8 hours for each full-time staff person per year.
And how much would that be for the year?
I would have to find out. I would have to do the math on that, but we only have 8 full-time staff at night, so.
So this would be a day off that people would receive. Is the library closed that day?
No, like the number 9, it does state, the holidays that were closed are listed in 2 on the other side.
There are 9 of those on the other side.
Yes.
And so now it's 10 holidays?
No, we're not closed on those days. We're closed on the days listed under number 2 here.
Okay.
On
which
number
is-
9 here, we're not closed on those days.
Okay, so we're closed for the 9 days, and then these are all recognized holidays that people are being paid for,
Yes,
in addition to the 9 days.
correct,
So that's 14 days of holiday,
correct.
plus their PTO, which is like vacation and other kinds of stuff.
Right. Yeah, and instead of closing those days and giving everybody the day off, we are not closing those days and giving the staff an additional 8 hours to celebrate the day at their discretion. if
And
they
then
want.
Juneteenth, is it, refresh my memory, that's a federal holiday?
It is,
It is.
yeah, this year. it's new.
Okay. Okay, if you could get back to us on the cost, I appreciate it.
Sure.
Okay, could go around, make sure that anyone who has comments or questions, Heather?
So just to clarify, it's not holiday pay that they're getting, correct? They can choose to take PTO on those days if they decide to do it.
If they decide to celebrate that.
So the question that I have is, by listing these days out, I mean, there's plenty of other holidays, Valentine's Day, St. Patrick's Day, lots of people celebrate holidays in different ways.
Mhm.
Is there really a purpose to having these specific ones put into our policy? I mean, the paid time off is not really something, I guess I don't understand why we need to list out these specific holidays.
Because they're federal holidays.
Okay.
It's pretty standard.
Okay. Just as a business owner, we do holiday pay, and then it's just whatever you want to use your PTO for,
Mhm.
whatever. So I guess I don't understand why.
Can I give a little bit of history?
Yeah.
When we were revising to holiday and PTO, as opposed to having all, different, vacation time and this time and that time, and we just call it PTO now. We didn't want the library closed on all of the federal holidays. We thought that was too many days to be closed. And these are actually state and federal holidays, recognized both by the state and federal. So we wanted to be able to compensate people for them. So we rolled it into their PTO, and we just kind of highlighted it to show that we were still recognizing these federal holidays, but it was being rolled into PTO.
So if we have a lot of staff who want to take these days off, then what do we do?
They don't have to take these specific days off. It's just time that they have available in their PTO hours.
And that's why we included in, it's, they have to abide by the rules of PTO. So it has to be approved by their supervisor. It can't impede on library services, so that would solve that problem. We had everybody ask for Juneteenth off.
Okay.
Go by seniority or whatever.
Okay, so it's not going to impact.
Right,
Okay,
right.
the services, that was really
So, again, just to clarify, if you're a new hire here, there's 12 PTO days and 14 holidays for 31 days total. No, it's 12 and 14, so it's 26 days, right? For vacation and holiday in the first year.
For a regular full-time.
On page 14, it says, after probation, so the first year of employment, 96 hours is 12 days, and then an additional 14 days.
No
26,
holiday.
26 days off paid in the first year. So
Well,
it's-
that 96 hours includes these holidays.
Oh, it does?
Yes.
It wasn't, okay, that
Yeah.
wasn't clear. Okay,
Yeah.
so from my understanding, being new, 96 hours is all of the time off, regardless of what you call it.
No, not
No,
necessarily.
so holidays in
These
addition.
holidays, the holidays listed on page 12 are separate. So only the holidays listed under number 9 are added to the PTO. And that's included in that total of 96 hours.
So that's why the hours are going up by 8 for each
Correct.
category. Okay.
Mhm.
I move to approve the new policy for holiday and paid time off.
I wanted to get Susan and Jim, but not only these start.
So we can do that.
Yeah, I'm covered.
Okay.
Yeah, I am too.
Okay, go ahead, Cheryl, thank you.
I move to approve the updated holiday and paid time off policy.
And I will second it. Jan?
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Okay, approved unanimously. Revised circulation policy.
And then you know about the cost, please.
Pardon?
Yes, I
Do
will.
that, okay.
The circulation policy was revamped to include the homebound services, which we're moving right along on, and we're ordering the bags, and we're ready to do that. So this has gone through the attorney. The holiday and PTO also went through the attorney, it was approved by her. So this includes the information about homebound services. Let me see, where is it? Page 19, under library card types, you'll see home delivery. So that was added to the circulation policy and as well to the chart on page 20. So that's pretty much it for the changes on this policy.
Okay, just for clarification, page 15, 16, 17, and 18 for the old policy, 19, 20, 21, and 22 is the new policy. And as I understand it, trying to make the changes because of all the formatting, it was a lot easier for Kathleen to retype it,
Okay.
reformat.
The only thing new is the home delivery.
We did make a couple other minor changes, just the wording was a little off that the attorney suggested, but for the
What
most
would be real
part.
helpful in the future is if we could use like a track changes sort of Word document or highlight those things that are new, but
Okay.
there aren't that many changes, this is the big deal at all. Thank you.
This is just my idle curiosity as a mom, I guess. I see a student, I'm assuming that doesn't mean students that are residents and not going to Brandon, but this is more an out of township situation. But that kind of led to my other thought is, so let's say my kids, would they be under a resident type card, and do our cards identify minors versus adults? I am just kind of curious when people check in books and, I mean.
Yes, we have, so the student cards are only for people who are not residents of Brandon Township. So Brandon Charter Schools is a charter school. You can be from Pontiac and anybody who chooses to go to that school can be driven there. So in order to allow those students to have access to our materials here at the building, we have a student card. And then students who are residents, they receive a resident card. They receive the same, the cards are the same, they look the same. The only difference is how they, we do request a date of birth on your application, and that is the only notation of whether it's a child card or not, because the parent or legal guardian is responsible for all the materials that are on that minor's card.
Okay. I was just curious if I identified them as a minor in any way.
Okay, further questions or comments?
I have one other question. In the old one, there's a section that has the room rental fees, but I didn't see that in the new one. Is that something that we're taking out, or?
We didn't think it was really the place for it, because it had anything to do with circulation.
Okay,
So
so that'll be on something else somewhere along the line. Okay, that was just
See it
the
again.
question. That was one of the differences that I saw between the two is all. So I wanted to clarify that. Okay.
May I have a motion to approve the Brandon Township Public Library circulation policy?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? That's unanimously, thank you.
Okay, so the next one is the collection development and programming policy. The reason that we decided to update this policy is because people are not only challenging materials, they're challenging programming as well. So we wanted to make sure that there was something in writing somewhere that covered that process if someone were to decide to do that, to challenge a program. So the changes are in red. The original policy, this was the one in August 28th, 2017. And this one is still with the attorney, so this is not a final draft by any means, so this one does not need any action on it today. But, and I know there needs to be more discussion, and I'm sure she's going to have a lot more changes than this, I have a feeling. So, but I wanted it, at least you guys to be aware that it's in the process, and that's why we're making the changes. We also had to change the form and the guidelines for staff so that everything is all cohesive.
And that's what starts on page.
This starts on page 23 of your packet.
I would like to make a comment at this point. I'm sure there's lots of thoughts, lots of questions, and we are A, limited on time, and B, there are other changes coming, so I would like to limit it to, if you have a strong feeling about something or there's another idea, go ahead and state it, but we won't do follow-up conversation. Heather, would you like to start?
Sure. I was just going to mention, like you said, I think that we need a lot more time to dive into this stuff. There was just a great article from, I think it was United for Libraries.
Yes.
Correct me if I'm wrong there, but that talked about a lot of this intellectual freedom stuff, and there's a ton of resources in there. that I personally have been going through a lot of today and some of yesterday. And so I would really like to just be able to comb through some of that stuff before we really start diving in and making a lot of changes, because I have a lot of questions, and, you know, like Berna said, I just don't think we have the time to really dive into that today. So that's really the only comment that I have right now. I want more time to, you know, I think this is great, having a draft to look at, because it gives us something, someplace to start. But I just think this is one of the most important things that we're going to do here, and I think we need to really give it its due. So,
Susan? Yeah, after Heather sent forwarded that information and drew my attention to it, I pretty much did the research and started getting a little overwhelmed, feeling that we're going to have to do this tonight. So I definitely believe giving us some due time and pushing it back is good. Kathleen, I know, has worked on this. I'd rather have her here anyways to answer a lot of the questions that I think she's been working on this. If I recall the notes from the team. I also had some questions about number 11 on page 28. It talked about textbooks, and I get why we don't check them out, but I also would like to maybe even toss out the idea that we start looking at how to make textbooks available to view in the library for homeschoolers, because a lot of them like to review textbooks and before they purchase them and things like that, or look at them for extracurricular support for tutoring their children, things like that. So just kind of those discussions I would like to throw out there, because I think that goes into, you know, our direction.
Sure.
Two things that kind of, I agree with all the things that Heather and Susan and I've been reading through all that stuff too, and it is kind of mind-boggling to review all that. The policy talks about collections, programs, and in some areas it talks about services, in other areas it doesn't. So I think we need to clarify where we talk about services in the policy. And my other concern was on the staff guidelines for reconsideration of library materials. The approval process of what kind of response goes back to whoever it is who has asked for reconsideration. It goes from the public services manager to the board. And the director isn't in there anywhere. And I believe the director needs to at least approve the initial response. It may be researched and written out by the public services manager. But I would think the director would want to see it and approve it before it went out to the public. And then if there was appeal, it could come to the board.
I just wanted to add to that, that I think that when we have the form all put together, that it should say in there that the patron has the right to appeal it to the board, or, you know, however that process works out. I just think that that should be clearly on there so that they know that they know the next possibility. Jay?
I think the comments have been very good tonight. My suggestion would be we have a process to submit, perhaps to Laura, our comments so that they be considered, because it's probably hard to capture all this in the discussion tonight. There are probably some other things that will come out as they review these other materials. Some things that jumped out at me. First of all, I think it didn't say anywhere in there about age-appropriate access, and I think that's something we all care about, at least those of us with children. It should be considered. As I look through the criteria for the policy guidelines on the collection criteria, as well as the kind of the internal policy, I didn't see anything about community input. So there was some criteria for the library folks to follow, but one of the things should be as the community asks for something. Someone from the community or a resident could ask for something. So there should be resident input somewhere in there. So there's some comments like that that I'd like to submit and have somebody take a look at along with these other comments and maybe get back to us before the policy's finalized.
Jan?
Laura just said that it's still with the attorney, so I think we should wait before anything to see what comes back from the attorney and then visit this again and then go from there with
Would it
questions.
make sense to do that after the comments and the changes done?
I
As
think
opposed to
so.
looking at them twice for,
Oh. But we're not asking the attorney questions. You wanted to ask Laura questions, right?
the attorney is doing a review of the document. Would it make sense for them to review the document
That's up
after
to her.
comments and?
I think there are certain things that you feel real strongly about that you would like me to include in my conversations with her. Send that to me.
Well, not so much the conversations, but the actual document. I mean.
Right.
Yeah,
Mhm. Yeah, if you want to send that to me, I
okay.
can discuss that.
Well, the lawyer would have to approve the final document anyway, is that correct? Yeah.
So go ahead and do it twice is my question.
Yeah,
I think there's no way to avoid it. They're
Right.
gonna
Yeah.
correct our changes.
Well, we still need their advice moving forward as well.
Okay, I would like to go ahead and move forward. I think we have a basic process here, and we will physically address this next month.
Very good.
Okay. And that included the reconsideration, right? We've already addressed that. Okay, committee reports. The parking lot, there was nothing to report. We did not meet this month, and it's my fault, but anyway. Professional development?
I'm going to not give much report tonight, but just to say, and it's been referred to tonight, MLA and United for Libraries has a slew of information out there, continuous learning to go on. So just be aware of that, and especially now on Zoom. I just went to the Headley Amendment for review, and 1 hour. So, you know, we can think about those things again. Okay, that's good.
I will just add on to that, there's a couple of webinars that are coming up on Tuesday, March 8th at 2 o'clock. There is a United for Libraries is having a board and trustee roundtable concerning intellectual freedom. So there's some more information for us to grab. Also, the Public Library Association is doing a virtual town hall, and that's Friday, March 4th at 1 o'clock. Now that's Central Time. So that would be, 2 o'clock here, I think. So, and that's also about intellectual freedom. So,
And who is that through?
the Public Library Association,
Okay. And the first one is who?
United for Libraries.
United, okay.
Yeah.
I can't write that fast.
Sorry. Yes, that's it. They're both in the email that I sent out yesterday with all the intellectual freedom stuff on it. So,
And thank you for that.
yeah.
And in that, there's a lot to it.
Yes, yep, for sure.
Okay, Friends.
Okay, in a nutshell, they have a fund balance of over $17,000 and have donated $800 for the homebound library service, which is getting off the ground. Meetings have been moved to the second Tuesday of the month, so the next meeting is March 8th. And the teen room is switching spots with the bookstore, so that will be coming up in the near future, so we can have a teen room again. Okay. That's it.
Student liaison, we haven't had a chance to meet, but Taylor, you have anything you'd like to say?
I don't know if this necessarily counts as my area, but we've been meeting as a junior advisory board, and one of our staff members is going to be making a Google form of different color layouts, and I'm going to be trying to get students to fill that form out so we can get some, choices from the actual teams that will be using the room. That's about it.
Oh, thank you. Appreciate that. Advocacy? Cheryl?
Just a reminder that the Michigan Library Association Advocacy Day, which normally is in person and you go and you visit your legislators and all of that, they're doing it by virtual this year, March 1st, and it's noon until 3:15.
Evaluations, Heather and I will be meeting within the next week. We hope to get started on that.
Did we skip 11.6 there?
Budget.
Oh, sorry, I apologize. I wrote it in the wrong place. Budget.
That's okay, we don't have.
Okay, staff reports. Questions, comments? Jay?
Some great things in there. Again, I'm just amazed every month the amount of activity that goes on here. It's very important, very interesting. From the director report, a couple of things. We've got new summer hours. I just wondered, is there a financial impact of extending the hours?
For the most part, staff are working their hours, their full hours now, just in a condensed version. So it'll just be spreading people out a little bit more. I don't know that there will be, maybe I'll look for the test, I don't think there's going to be a lot more hours.
Overtime hours or anything like that?
No overtime.
I have honestly just started kind of looking ahead to June as far as hours, so I can't say for sure, but knock on wood, my department at least is fully staffed right now, which is amazing, so I'm hoping, like Laura said, that maybe just having less people in the building at one time will be able to cover the
Or
hours.
start somebody late and they can stay later in the day?
Yeah.
Okay, thank you. The second thing, was there any financial cost of creating the team space, moving things around, new equipment, new furniture?
We do have money in the budget for furniture. We're hoping the friends are going to help us with it, and it's still in discussion.
So it's under development right now?
It's under development right now. We do
Okay.
have a team committee together. Taylor has been awesome on our team. So we are putting things together and figuring things out right now. But between the friends and Taylor and the team committee, we seem to be getting a pretty good plan together. So I don't think it's going to be a major cost because the shelving is just going to be moved. So it's just going to be patching and painting and furniture.
Okay, thank you. I didn't know what was involved in that. So, my last comment was in Sarah's report on page 36. So we have a number of hot spots, and we're beginning to loan those now, which is great. And there was a remark about people taking them on vacation. They're more susceptible to theft and loss, as you're traveling, as you know. So I'm a little bit worried about that. But I guess my bigger concern is if we only have X number, and I don't know what the number is, but if they're taking them on vacation, does that mean there are not ones available when kids need them for like schoolwork at home and things like that?
We have 5 that we've loaned out, and the restrictions are no different than a book. If you can check out a book, you can take it on vacation, you can take it in the car. But
Okay.
no, we can't really do that. We can't really restrict where and when they can use it.
Sure.
It's in their possession when they have it checked out.
Okay. And they are responsible should they lose it? Or
It hasn't been an issue.
It hasn't been, but if they did lose it, they would be responsible financially.
They are financially responsible, yes.
Just like a lost book.
Right.
Thank you.
Heather?
One comment, Laura, I noticed in your report that you are going to be updating your notary. Is that a service that we can have at the library? I was just curious about that.
Yep.
I think that's kind of an exciting thing.
Yep.
so.
I've been a notary for the state for a long time, and
Okay.
we provide notary services that live here,
Okay,
and by appointment, no charge.
okay,
And it was usually pretty well received.
okay.
Um,
Do we
I did-
do that now?
We used to.
Okay.
I talked to the staff, and they said they do get asked quite often
Okay.
if we have a notary in the
Okay.
building, so
Excellent.
I just think it would be a nice service to offer.
Yep, okay.
It serves as your backup too. If you,
Oh, okay.
for some reason, there's a large number of people coming in or something
Okay.
like that.
Thank you.
I was also really very sad to hear that our Chromebook met in Untitled. I would love to hear that story sometime. If anybody wants to share it. I'm just curious, but.
First checkout. It was the first.
Really? Oh.
You know, those things are pretty darn fragile too.
Yeah, they are. That's
Yeah.
just, gosh. I was not excited to read that. That's probably the only thing that I wasn't excited to read. I'm also really excited for all of the stuff coming up for the summer reading program. I know that's always everybody's favorite, you know, with all the summer reading stuff. So, and I love the idea of the art committee coming in and bringing some art. One suggestion that I have maybe is for some of the local kids. Maybe they want to contribute some art. I know one of my daughters is an artist, so it's just, you know, for something a little different if we need, you know, to fill a gap or something. I just thought that would be fun. Maybe the art teachers at the school even have
Contest winner.
something, yeah, something fun like that. But exceptional work to all of our staff again. I'm always so impressed, so.
Susan? Well, I went through, there's so many highlights. I like to see the increase in hours.
She even has cards next
I
week.
have- We're supposed to see that. I like the safety training with the officers coming in. I think that's wonderful. You know, I mean, just so much there. I love the idea of the movie in the park, the tutor. I mean, I know a lot of people, you know, even homeschoolers are going to be elated about that because sometimes we get frustrated teaching our own children. And other people can do it because they tolerate somebody other than mom. And the grant, thank you so much for working on the grant and getting that. That again is amazing. And I like seeing Taylor working with Jab. That is awesome. And bringing her in and doing all that with the teen room. So it was neat to see all the things going on, and good job, everybody.
Cheryl?
Yes, great job for everybody. I mean, there's so much on here that you really can't list it all. I just had a few questions on your report, Laura. How did you decide on the changes of hours? I know when we changed it before and we changed the Saturday hours, it was based on what hours were being used more, and we weren't getting many people using it in the morning. And yet you're going back to the morning hours and closing earlier. So was there a reason, or?
I was trying to keep it a little consistent as far as opening times for the week. So that makes it so that we open at the same time every day during the week. I think when the live hours are, 10 o'clock, 11 o'clock, 9 o'clock, it's just, people show up and they're, I don't know how many times people come to the door and we're not open. So I think I was just trying to keep it consistent more than anything. And then the 2 o'clock is when the numbers just die off. So that's why we.
When we're open now, we're only busy from 11 to 2?
Pretty much. The numbers are, after 2 o'clock, it's just very, very quiet. So I just wanted to keep it consistent, and then the numbers, that's where we came up with 9 to 2.
Yeah, I'd be interested to see how the numbers compare when we do the new hours. And then on the art committee, I just have a few concerns. Have we developed a criteria on, who will be allowed to display their stuff and what is it, and whose liability is it if something happens to the piece of art, and, all that type of thing?
We're working on that. We will have a contract. We're looking at having one artist each newsletter, basically, each quarter. So it would be 4 artists a year. And we've been working, is it Ferndale Library?
Yeah.
Has a really great contract and process that we've kind of been looking to maybe steal, borrow.
So will the board see that before it's
Yeah,
in place?
absolutely.
Okay. What are our thoughts about getting more hotspots since they're so popular?
I don't know if we've really talked about it yet.
I don't even know how much they are to buy one.
I don't think they're that expensive, but the problem is they each have to have a service. So maybe Sean can.
Yeah, so it's $90 for one hotspot, and then so our grant pays for the service of these hotspots until, I believe, July of this year, and then we will be taking on the cost of that, which for 5 hotspots, the service price is $260 a month. So when we go to do our 2023 budget, we will need to take into account that we will have to pay for the hotspot service and do the crunch the numbers to see if it will fit into our 2023 budget.
So that's 260 for all 5 of them a month?
Mhm.
Okay. Okay.
So if we added more, that number would go up.
Correct.
All right. And then, sorry, but I had a lot. We still have a little bit of time.
But you can't have all of it.
I know. Okay. When you were working on this new policy regarding our collections and everything, there was mentioned something in here about challenges. Have we had any recent, I mean, I know we had somebody come to the board during public comment, but I didn't know if you had any recent challenges to anything.
No, I haven't.
Okay. Okay. And one more question. On this grant that we got, are there any plans in process, things that you're thinking about?
Okay, Shauna, go ahead.
I've done a lot of talking, you can go. Okay. Yeah, so we have lots of plans, probably need to like scale it back a little bit. But you see that like $10,000 sign and like the opportunities are endless. So just as like from a programming standpoint, we can use that for any kind of humanities-based program, whether it be a presenter or like one of our staff members is going to do an archaeological dig program in the summer. Anything that's historical, community-based, we can use that grant money for programs. So we are offering way more programs this summer than we would normally be able to on our normal budget. We can also use it for things kind of like that we might use in a makerspace in the future. So like we're going to buy things like Legos and then offer like a historical program around the Legos. So there's lots of plans. I think we'll be able to use some of it to help with the teen room too, to get activities and things for the teens that will be humanities-based. What else? Oh, we have services that we offer right now too. So like one of them is the Storytime to Go kits. So this grant can be used for anything like early literacy. So we are going to kind of work on revamping our Storytime to Go kits, whether that be swapping things out or just adding new ones for each age group. So that's something we're going to do. Oh, yep, and 1,000 Books Before Kindergarten is a program we offer right now that Fran does an amazing job promoting. So we can use this money to offer it to more kids if we want to.
Okay. Sounds wonderful. Thank you.
My turn. Shauna and Alyssa, congratulations. That is just amazing. Just so pleased to hear that. And everything that all of you do is just over the top. So proud to be on this board to represent you. Laura, I did have one question. Thank you for inviting the board to the active shooter training. Do you know how long that's going to last?
He said an hour or so.
Oh, that's all?
So, yeah.
Do we need to register for it?
No.
Or is every employee involved?
Yes.
So will you, oh, that's before the library opens,
Right.
isn't it? Okay, okay. That was my question. Great, great job. Okay, I'm good.
Okay, Shauna, I know our first question is, how are you going to spend the money? But would you like to speak to the process? And this, as you know, grant writing is something that I dabble in. So would you like to talk about the whole process? What would you like to share?
Yeah, I have to say that this was an interesting process, especially in regards to, I am not a very good writer, so I'm so thankful to have Alyssa be on my team for this, because although I'm very good at collecting data and putting it all together, like, hey, look at this picture of this pie chart, we have red and blue here, she's the lyricist behind that, and being able to be like, yes, we need to show that we're going to budget for all of these programs, and how can we measure everything that we're going to be using the money for, so that it's going to do well for our community and be able to provide humanity's understanding to the community, because that's what this grant is really about, is making sure that people are understanding where their literature, their legal stuff, their history, and like being able to provide access to that information for themselves. So, and here at the library, like early literacy is almost key to the foundation of what we provide, and being able to supplement a lot of the things that we already have and be able to add new things to entice people to come in is just going to be phenomenal for us across the board. And I'm really excited about having such a big project to keep track of, because it's just going to add to the great things that we already provide here. So,
Thank you. Good job. And I know how much work that is. Okay. Find where we are. Okay, any comments or questions regarding library statistics? Okay, calendar for March. There will be the strategic plan update and also bylaws review. Anything else? Okay, those of you who sat in the audience and listened to us close to an hour now, any comments, questions?
Hey, hello everybody. I just wanted to thank you for moving the meet and greet to the evening so I can attend. So I appreciate that. Thank you.
We're glad you're here.
I just wanted to add that during the FLO meeting last week, Patty was voted as treasurer, and that didn't come up, so she's our new treasurer.
Thank you. Thank you. And hence moving the week, right?
Right. Yeah, that was my fault, yes. Okay. It was well worth having.
Okay. There's nothing really on hold. These were drafts that came to us, so it's not really on hold. It's just part of the process. Anything else for the next meeting? It is 5:48. May I have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Stereo.
I'll second it.
All in favor? Aye. Opposed? We are adjourned. And thank you, team, for keeping it brief.
Jan and Heather.
Sorry. If everybody wants to have a seat, we're going to get started, and then there will be more time. I'm going to say a few words, Laura's going to say a few words, and then there will be more time to mingle and eat treats at the end, too. All right. So good evening, everyone. Thanks so much for joining us to officially welcome Laura to the Brandon team. For those of you who do not know me, my name's Alyssa Waldy, and I am the Public Services Manager here. Like Laura, I'm relatively new, so I've only been here since the end of June 2021, but I'm loving it so far. Not only am I new to the library, but I'm new to the Ortonville community in general, and I will say that the welcome that I received when I got here was amazing. Everybody's been really helpful, staff, community members, and I'm confident that everyone will treat Laura with the same open arms. Since I am new, I don't plan on spending too much time on what the library was like before Laura got here. Instead, I'm going to focus on where I think the library will be headed with her as our new leader. Over the past almost 2 months, 2 months now? Wow. I've had the pleasure of working with Laura pretty closely and getting to know her. I serve on 2 different committees with her currently, and I stop into her office at least once a day to bother her, whether it be with a question or some new idea that I might have. And even though I know this is probably tiresome and I might be the last person she wants to see every single day, Laura always welcomes me into her office, and she listens to me and she helps me brainstorm my crazy new ideas, so I'm very appreciative. And I'm confident that Laura will direct our library similarly and be supportive of all staff and community members. And I know that she's always going to be welcome to new ideas and services, which I think is really what this library needs to keep moving forward and being of service to our community. So as you all know, we are lucky to already have a beautiful building and an involved community with staff who care about our patrons. And with Laura as our director, things are guaranteed to only get better. We've all seen that just in the last 2 months. We currently have an amazing team who are dedicated to serving our community's needs by offering programs that interest our patrons and services that fill our community's needs. By offering, I am confident, as is the rest of our staff, that Laura is the perfect addition to our team because she shares the same vision. Since she started, she has made it clear that the community is her first priority. With her as our director, I predict that the library will be an even more welcoming space for all ages. So instead of just hearing me blab on for the next 10 minutes, I thought it might be fun to hear what other staff have to say about Laura and her first couple of months here. So I asked the staff in my department, which is the Public Services Department, to share why they're excited to have Laura as our new leader, or if they had any positive experience in the last 2 months. And this is what they said. I'm not going to use names because I promised them I wouldn't. But the first staff member said, "We had an impromptu research session in the meeting room while I was working off desk, going through the library records, looking for the incorporation date papers. We had a good series of laughs discussing the library's history." The second staff member said, "The first time I introduced myself to her at a library board meeting before she started, she told me she liked my storytime videos on Facebook. This really touched my heart. Laura is wonderful. She makes it a point to stop down sometime throughout each day to say hello and see how things are going. She thought my story time sounded like so much fun, she popped in to check it out. Laura really takes an interest in what everyone is doing, and I truly love her open door policy where she really has her door open. She's dived right into our community, attending many meetings and getting to know people. Her warm, bubbly personality really brightens up the library." The next staff member said, "She's very kind and personable. We always have a laugh when we chat. I'm excited to work with her because I can tell how much she values providing to our community. I think she sees where we can improve in providing to our community, and we are already working on making these changes." My fourth staff member said, "She seems really nice so far, and I'm excited to be working with her on the teen committee. She has some really good ideas and seems really passionate about them." And last but not least, another staff member said, "Laura seems very easy to talk to, and during the short time that she has been here, she's been very approachable and seems to take time out of her day to have conversations with her employees. She also seems very invested in community relations and is working hard to ensure the community that the library's services are here to benefit the community. I think she is a great fit since she has grown up, lived, and worked within this area most of her life. I think she will do an excellent job and be a valuable asset to this library and this community." So as you can see, she's only been here 2 months, and the impression she has made has just been immense. Everyone loves her. We love having her here. We all feel that we can go and talk to her any time of the day, no matter what. She's already implemented so many new projects and services that we're working on. It's just clear that I'm not the only staff member excited to have Laura as our new director. We all agree that she's personable, supportive, and dedicated to the community, and everyone believes that with her as our leader, the library's future looks bright. So without further ado, please join me in welcoming Laura to the Brandon Library.
Thank you, Alyssa. That was really nice. So I will start this by saying I don't like doing this. but I will do the best I can. Thank you to Susan, Alyssa, and Paige for putting the party together. It was really nice. And I appreciate it very much. And thank you to the board for hiring me and bringing me on board. And the staff have been amazing. I have lots of ideas of things I'd like to do, and so far no one has said, no, we're not doing that. They all are like, okay, what can we do to help? I've asked for a couple of committees. We have a teen committee and we're looking at a local art committee for the library. And I never had to beg anybody to join. Everybody jumped right on board, and including Taylor.
She went out.
Taylor is our teen liaison from the high school, and she's been awesome. We ask her stuff, and she's like, no, don't do that. And I appreciate that. I appreciate the honesty. So it's just been great. I did come from Holly, right on the other side of the mountain here, and I grew up in a small town. And I had a lot of friends that wanted to move to New York and Chicago. And I always thought, why would you want to do that? Why wouldn't you want to live in a town where everybody knows you and you know them and everybody looks out for each other? And, even though my neighbors, told my mom stuff that maybe I didn't want her to know, but growing up that way was good. Being from a small town is a really good thing. And so we kept my kids in the smaller town, and I've never regretted it. And so far, none of them have moved to big cities, so they might yet. So community supports this library, and that is very, very clear to see. They are interested in what we're doing. They are supportive of what we're doing. They've provided this beautiful building and financial support, and that speaks volumes. I've worked in libraries where that's not necessarily the case, and it's hard. It's really hard as a librarian to not take that personal when your community consistently votes down your millages. And so to be in a community that values their library and supports it like this is amazing. The newspaper, the DDA has been great, and every community venue that I've spoken with has been nothing but welcoming, and it's been a wonderful experience. So as we come out of COVID, I'm very excited about the changes in programming and the advancements with the library and opening up the avenue to do new things and try new things. And with a staff that's totally on board, I'm really, really excited. So I welcome suggestions and comments. I think everybody has ideas of what they would like their library to be and what they would like their library to not be, and I am very open to those comments, so please feel free to contact me anytime. I really do have an open door policy. I think this is not my library. This is your library, and it's the staff's library, and it's the community's library, so I want it to be what you want it to be. So, moving forward, the staff, the board, and I will continue to provide a library the community is proud of, because I know they are now, and I just want to keep it that way and make it better. I'm very fortunate to step into a position where Rebecca did an amazing job with the behind the scenes, the budgeting, the staffing, getting things in place, policies and procedures, and it really has freed me up to go forward with things, with ideas and programs, and so I'm grateful to her. I know she's not here, but I'm very grateful to her. And some of you know, I never wanted to be a director. It was not something I enjoyed doing because I was afraid I would not still be able to interact with patrons, and I'd be stuck, in an office, and that's not the case, which I'm very happy. I can still be very involved in the community and with the patrons and the staff, and I don't order books anymore, but that's okay. I sign the checks that order the books. So I'm very, very happy to be here, and I appreciate all of you being here, and all of the support that the board and my family and everyone has given me. And I am just grateful. And I hope that all of you feel comfortable talking to me whenever you like, and with suggestions and ideas. And I really look forward to being here for a long time. Thank you very much.